So today we're going to look at another flashlight, another one of these bright torches. I'm going to put it through its paces, drop it in some water, throw it on the concrete, take it out in the park, and see if I can break this one. This is the EBL flashlight model AL35. It's being sold on Amazon. The link is in the description. And I've been given this product to take a look at and see how well this one performs. And what we'll do is I'm going to run it through a couple tests, and then we'll take it out when it gets dark, and we'll compare it to a couple of other flashlights. The Through Night TC20, and I'll also compare it to the Astra Lux C8. This is the one that really has a really powerful long range beam, but very narrow beam. So we'll compare it to these two flashlights. So when we open up the box, this is my official unboxing. We'll find that in the package, a USB charge cord, a flashlight, and a 2-pack of 18650 cells, 3000 milliamp hour. So it comes with 2 cells. So you got one to go and one to show. Unpackage the flashlight, and we'll see that it's a nice single piece aluminum construction. Unlike the other ones, the lens does not unscrew. This is one solid piece. The end cap unscrews to load the battery. And here's where you will find the USB charge port. So the USB charge port is protected from water getting into it through an O-ring. And then to load the battery, we simply unscrew the end cap. Now my warranty is void. These batteries, by the way, are charged. I've already charged them. They don't come charged, but I've already charged them. So drop a cell in. Screw on the end cap here, and then screw on the protective cap, and you'll notice that there's a light in the back here that'll light up green when the battery's got a sufficient charge, red when it needs to be charged. Let's take a look at this thing. I'm just going to shine it on the wall here in the dark, but we are going to take it out a little while. It's not dark yet, so I'm shooting this before it gets dark. We'll take it out to the park tonight. It's a nice night, but I'm going to put it through the acid tests here before I get it outside and see how it performs in the dark. That's if it makes it that far. We might end up breaking this one, because even though the instructions here say that it is waterproof, it also says don't drop it in water. I remember reading that. Warnings. Where does it say here? First of all, it's 1000 lumens is the output that it shows here. And it's waterproof level to an IP68. I don't even know which one that one is. I'll have to look that one up. But anyway, I did remember reading here, oh, please do not soak it in water. That's what it says. Don't soak it in water. Well, we're going to do better than that. I'm going to throw this thing in my hot tub and let it sit there for a while. And we'll see how well this thing holds out water. Okay, let's turn this thing on the dark and see how it shines on the wall. In total darkness, I'm going to compare it to a couple of the other ones. We'll first of all look at the Astra Lux. The Astra Lux, of course, you have to go through multiple brightnesses to get up to full brightness. But there's the Astra Lux. As you can see, it's lighting up it's blowing out the camera because it is so bright. But it is a very strong, very focused light that is overpowering the camera. I'm just going to make sure that there we go. We're focused on the chart here. There we go. Okay. So the Astra Lux, very bright, but a very narrow beam. By comparison, let's take a look at this one here. As you can see, the beam is not as concentrated. It's a little more white too, a little more blue in terms of color temperature. And again, we'll take this outside tonight and take a look at it. And now we'll compare it also. This one I'm going to put on the through night torch, and as you can see, the through night is a much wider beam, and you can see the distinct color temperatures. So we're going to take this out later on tonight and take a look at how well these perform, compare these three to each other. One thing I really like about the AL35 by EBL is the way that the power switch operates. When you turn it on, it starts out at full brightness, and if you've left it on for more than a few seconds, press the power button again, it goes off. But if you want a dimmer light, you can dim it down through the three levels: bright, medium, and low. It doesn't have a firefly mode, but it does have a low. So when you first turn it on, it'll start out full, and then, so if you only need a small amount of light, just click it 3 times, and then off. If you turn it on, it'll come back on at that level. So whatever level you've left it at, it'll stay at that level. So now we're at low. If I want to go back to high, I just click it twice, and then now go to medium. And if I leave it at medium, when I turn it off, I turn it back on, it'll come back on at medium. If I want to go back to high, there we are, high. So it starts out high, medium, and low, and it remembers what you were on last, as long as you stayed there for more than, I think, 5 seconds. Yeah. So if I just start clicking it, you'll see that it goes through the 3 light levels. And then if you leave it there for 5 seconds, it now remembers that level for the next time you turn it on. So I like that feature of it. Let's go put this thing through some abuse before it gets dark. We're going to give this thing the drop test. So the light is on, and we're going to drop it from about 4.5 feet, just straight down onto the ground. There, okay, dropped. Took that impact pretty good. Nothing is loose, nothing's broken. And now that we've dropped it, we're going to get it wet. I can think of nothing better to do than to drop it into a hot tub and let it sit down there for a few minutes. So that's exactly what I intend to do. We'll let it sit in 104 degree nice warm water. I just filled this thing up. I just had to replace my spa pack, and I just filled this thing up, and my alkalinity is still a little bit low, so my water's a little bit cloudy. It should be crystal clear. Got lots of chlorine in it, but I think my alkalinity is just a little bit low. So I got to get some baking soda in there to clear it up. We're going to let this thing soak for a while, just because they tell us not to let it soak. And then we'll take it apart and see if we got any water in it. Okay, I've had the flashlight soaking for several minutes. And I see moisture that's gotten into it. It works, but it's got moisture behind the lens. So, rain splashing it may be okay. Don't take this one in the pool. Don't drop it in your aquarium like I did with this one, and this one sailed through with flying colors, but we won't talk about that because that's a different video for a different company. This one here, it works. It handled the drop test okay. Nothing broke, but as far as it being totally sealed and waterproof, I would have to say that that is a fail. As you can see, there is some moisture on the inside of the glass here. I'm going to take the battery out and we'll see if any water got into anywhere where it's a little more critical than into the front. So let's take a look at See if any moisture got in behind the O-ring. It looks to be dry. I can see there's some moisture here in front of the O-ring, which is to be expected because it was dropped into water, but everything behind the O-ring here looks good. I don't see any indication that there's any water there. There's the green lights that light up for the battery, and they turn red when the battery is low. And it also lights up when you plug it into your USB. If you're going to charge it in the flashlight, this lights up and then turns solid green when it's fully charged. We unscrew this. As you can see, there's a second O-ring seal right here as well, but I don't see any indication that any water got into the actual unit itself. The battery compartment is dry. Yeah, the battery compartment itself is dry. Nothing got into here, but there was certainly some leakage up front here. And we'll also, I'm going to measure the capacity of the battery. And how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to put it into my flashlight and I'm going to discharge it completely. And then we'll put it into the charger here. And this charger will tell me, like I'm charging some batteries right now, this one it will tell me how many milliamp hours that the cell takes. So we're going to run this one down, and then we'll charge it up and see what the actual capacity is from the time that the flashlight shuts off. So I'm going to put it into flashlight here, and we're going to run it until it turns off, and then charge it. And then I can give you an idea of how long this thing is going to go for. So there it is. We'll turn it on and leave it run until the light starts to flash red, and then we'll charge the battery up, and that way we'll get an idea of how much these cells will hold. Okay, I was wrong. It does unscrew. So maybe we can take this apart and there's the inside of it. Now I can dry, see the moisture in there? Now I can dry off this moisture. Yeah, some moisture got into the front here. And it does have a seal. I mean, they had it glued. They had the threads glued, but it does have a gasket on here. Bloody bright. I still think it got in around the front, between the glass and the bezel, because it doesn't appear to seal as tight as some of the other ones. I'm just wondering if there's a gasket here or not. Yeah, I believe this is probably where the moisture got in. I don't feel a gasket on the front lens here. So I think that's where the moisture got in. But at least you can take it apart to clean it up. Lens goes back in. Screw it back together. And now we'll continue my discharge here. Now that it's nice and clear again, we'll discharge this battery and then charge it up as we started to do there. While we're on the flashlight, while I'm still waiting for the battery to discharge, there are 6 modes of operation. As we saw, high, medium, and low. There's also a strobe, slow flash, and SOS. And how that's accessed is when you first turn it on, you double click it. So you turn it on, leave it for 2 seconds, then double click, and it'll be fast flash. Click it again, and it'll be a slow flash. Click it a third time, and it'll be SOS. So on, double click, 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 and now it's SOS. Light's been going for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and the lights just turned to red. It was green literally just before I pressed the there, see, go back to there. it's going green. If I turn it off for a few seconds and turn it on, it'll show green. Now it's gone to red and it dims down. So the battery is now down to, I think it says it's 10%. If it's red, it's 0 to 10%. And if it's green, it's over 10%. I think that's what I read, yeah. Red is less than 10%. Green is more than 10%. So we're down to 10% of the charge. So it's time to put this battery in the charger, and we'll let it charge up. That way we can measure the capacity. It's been going for 2 hours and 20 minutes continuous. And now the battery is dead. So let's remove the battery from here. We'll plug it into the charger. I'll put a fresh cell into here, and then we'll go and measure this or test it out in the dark and see how it looks. So my battery voltage is down to 3.35 volts, which is where it is when it's dead. We're on a 2 amp charge. We're going to time this and see how long it takes to charge and what the capacity that the cell holds. They rated energy on this is 3,000 milliamp hours. So if this gets close to 3,000, then we'll know what type of capacity. But we haven't run it completely down. We've run it down to 10%. So let's go and take this flashlight, put a new cell in it. We're going to take it and put it through its paces in the park, in the dark, and see how it performs. Okay, we're back out in the park. I always shoot from the same location. So first I'm going to look at our new flashlight under test. So here it is. And as you can see, it has a really nice throw. Really nice throw. Lights up the trees there in the distance quite nicely. So as you can see, it's got quite a nice throw if I shine it up on the tree here. Starting to lose the leaves now as we're getting into fall. So we don't have quite as much green as we did before. But there's the throw from the light. I'm now going to compare this one to the Astra Lux in full power. So I'll make sure that this one's in full power first of all. Yeah, so that's full power. And this one that we're looking at, this is the EBL. So now I'm going to look at the Astra Lux. As you can see, the Astra Lux has a little more throw, but they're both very good. The Astra Lux has a more concentrated beam, less throw around the outside of the cone of the light. It's more concentrated, and it'll actually send the light further down into the park. But still very good. Here's the Astra Lux again. And then I'm going to also turn on my through night light and blind myself in the process. And I'll get all 3 beams going here. So there's the through night. As you can see, it's a much broader flood. So that's just the through night by itself. And it lights up everything because it's a more of a floodlight than a spot. As you can see, everything's lit up with this one. And then I'll bring up the EBL as well. So that's the through night and the EBL. Again, very good, but not nearly as bright as the through night. There's the through night light again. EBL, through night, and then I'll put the Astra Lux into the same point as well. And as you can see, the Astra Lux has a much more concentrated beam. So as far as total throw, it's the king of them. Of the 3 lights that I've got here, this one's the king as far as the total throw goes. And then we'll go back to the EBL. So this is the Astra Lux, and this one's the EBL. The EBL and the through night. And I'm pointing the other lights in the opposite direction right now so that there's no spillover from the other lights. They're actually probably people are wondering why I'm shining lights in their windows, because I'm not even looking where I'm pointing them. I'm kind of pointing them behind me. But through night, EBL, Astra Lux. And I'll just put the three beams together. So the beam on the left is the Astra Lux. The beam on the right is the EBL. And to fill it in, here's the... It's kind of hard to show the through night at the same time, because it has such a broad beam that it just kind of augments everything. But there's the two together. The light on the left is the Astra Lux C8. I think it's the C8, yeah. The Astra Lux C8 on the left on this tree there. And here's the EBL on the right. And if I switch them around, you can still see the difference. So now the light on the left is the EBL, the light on the right is the Astra Lux. And you can see the difference there. Light on the left, Astra Lux C8, light on the right, EBL. And I'll bring the third one in here as well. And here's the third one. And you can see it's more of a flood. Okay, that's our night performance test. If I hold all three of them together, you can really light this place up like daytime. That's our performance test. We're going to go back into the studio now, and we'll see how much capacity the battery that comes with this unit is capable of storing once the battery charges. And we'll see how long it takes to fully charge it as well at a 2 amp charge. Well, there's the battery now fully charged. Took 1 hour 39 minutes to come up to 4.2 volts, showing capacity 22 milliamp hour. But again, remember that the cell wasn't completely discharged. It still had some charge left in it. It was down to about 10%. So that's the capacity of these cells for the full usable voltage when the flashlight itself indicates that the cell is dead. That's about it. Hope you enjoyed this look at the EBL tactile flashlight. I would say 8 out of 10 because it did leak some water, but right in the instructions it says it's waterproof, but don't soak it in the water. Now we know why, because it's not perfectly sealed here at the lens. The EBL model AL35 comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee and a 1-year limited warranty, available from the link in the description from Amazon. I think this is not a bad little unit for what it costs, and the fact that it comes with a second battery is a bonus, because you never know when your battery is going to go dead. But again, it did run for several hours here on a charge, so something like this is going to last a long time, and having that second battery is kind of a bonus. Anyway, other than the little bit of a problem I had with a leak on this unit, it seemed to stand up fairly well. I dropped it from 5 feet, and you can see the battle scar here, but it's no worse for wear, other than the fact that when I did submerge it, it did leak a little bit. But again, it's not waterproof for submerging. It's more for if you get it wet out in the rain, or you drop it briefly into the water, it'll be fine. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one real soon.